Throughout their lightning expansion throughout Eurasia, the Mongols adopted many religions from their many conquered people. However, they always retained their roots in their original faith, an animist belief system led by a caste of shamans. One of the most mysterious parts of the Mongol Empire in the minds of many is the role that these shamans played in its expansion. Popular portrayal often relies on stereotypes of the shamanic role, but there is much more information on them which survives. In this video, we'll look at what historical sources say about shamans in the Mongol Empire and explore the role they played both in shaping Mongol society and in facilitating the Mongol conquest. While the word shaman is likely of Tunguic origin, in the 13th century, the Mongols referred to the male shaman as Boge, the female shaman as Indugan. These were used in conjunction with the Tuic word Kwam. Shamans could be male or female, though even today, the role is more commonly led by men. We don't have the exact description of the dress of the medieval shamans beyond a few statements of led shamans garbed in white and in riding white horses, but we do know how Mongol shamans from more recent centuries dressed, so we can assume there is continuity with their medieval forebearers. Shamanic dress likely included key features such as the wearing of mirrors along with other small metal ornaments and bells, elaborate hats which often cover the faces and eyes, especially during rituals, and long colorful bands tied on them, emulating snakes or bird wings. The drums and drumsticks were essential equipment used for rhythmic beats to accommodate trances and chants. Other tools of the office included staves, and in some cases, using a bundle of twists as a small whip is a trait associated with them. Shamans fulfilled several roles in traditional Mongol society. Before we explore this, we have to contextualize a bit of the Mongolian religion of the 13th century. While the traditional religion is often called shamanism, this is not accurate. Shamans were not the only or even primarily religious clergy. The heads of lineages and the khans and their wives arguably held more critical public roles and led in ceremonies throughout the year. Shamans were instead specialists consulted on particular matters. For most nomadic people of Eurasia's steppes, the chief deity was Tengri, generally translated to heaven, interpreted on the spectrum as the literal sky to an anthropomorphized god. For the Mongols, Tengri was paired with Natige, usually translated to Earth Mother, a divine being who acted as a consort and terrestrial balance to Tengri and his sky domain. Below them are a set of lesser deities, 99 Tengri and 77 Nightingale. A tier further below these lesser deities were the spirits that inhabited the world, both the animals and natural geography. Each human also consisted of multiple, usually 3 spirits. On death, people did not go to heaven or hell, but rather a shadowy netherworld that mirrored the terrestrial world. In this netherworld, your status in life made your status in death. A slave remained a slave, while a Khan remained a Khan. But not all spirits in the present might go to this next world and could become tethered to the terrestrial one. Hence, prohibitions against spilling blood on the ground could result in a spirit becoming stuck in that location and turning malevolent. The spirit of someone of noble blood was a very powerful one and not one you wanted to anger. This belief resulted in the infamous and imaginative Mongol practice of disposing of the nobles of their foes in a bloodless manner, such as rolling them up in carpet and stomping them to death. This was done not as much of a sense of respect or honor, but as an attempt to avoid misfortune. It was the duty of shamans to identify the spirits and their intentions. If the spirits meant to cause ill, then the shamans, through trance or dreams, had their souls travel to engage with other spirits. Although not all spirits are cruel, ancestral spirits or a shaman spirit, when they died, be held in an ongong, which was usually a small figure made of felt, silk, bronze, or other materials ritually fed during meals. This ongong was supposed to look out for their family and descendants. Alternatively, the ongong could be used to house some of the spirits the shamans faced. Certain aspects of these beliefs are still practiced in Mongolia and other regions today. The shaman was therefore someone the average Mongol soldier or herdsman would only encounter under exceptional circumstances, while Khans and nobility made greater use of them. The most common interaction that other ordinary people had with shamans seems to have been when they were sick. In these situations, the shaman acted as a type of physician and came in to diagnose and determine if the sickness was caused by malevolent spirits, and then what the appropriate response was, such as a sort of exorcism which the shamans entered a trance to draw the spirit away. We see references to the shamans having bowls of mixtures they gave for physical sores or for the individuals to drink. William Rubrock, an eyewitness of their activities in the Mongol imperial capital of Karakorum in the 1250s, described one method for determining a person's illness. When one of the great Khan's Mongol concubines fell ill, the shamans forced through uncertain means a German slave to sleep for several days. When the slave awoke, she was asked if she had seen the concubine's souls among those to be deceased. The slave said no, and the shamans declared the concubine would recover from her illness. Rubrock left Karakorum before he could see if this was true, but the German girl still suffered ferocious headaches by the time she left. We also see shamans employed in the interpretations and predictions of natural phenomena such as comets or eclipse. Astrology was a skill the Mongols rated highly, and they richly rewarded anyone who showed ability in this area. They were especially curious about what this event foretold for the future or if they were ill news. Numerous sources attest to how Khans consulted with shamans before important events, especially campaigns. According to this account, the Mongols did not launch a campaign without first being told by the shamans that their readings indicated it would be successful. William of Rubruck noted after his journey to the Karakorum that the reason the Mongols had not returned in Hungary after 1242 was because the shamans had forbidden it on account of bad omens. While on the borders of India in the 1220s, Persian and Chinese accounts have Chinggis Khan withdraw due to omens identified by his shamans and advisors. One account indicated the sightings of a rhinoceros, an animal unknown to the Mongols. One of the most common means of divination was scopolamancy, the burning of sheep shoulder blades. By interpreting the directions in which cracks formed on the shoulder blades, the shaman judged if an action was suitable. We have numerous written accounts of the Mongols engaging in this practice and even archaeological evidence for it. At Avagra in Mongolia, a site often called the first capital of the Mongol Empire, pits of thousands of burned shouldered blades have been excavated. Whether the shamans indeed control the final decision on the Chinggis military campaigns is less clear. Sources sometimes refer to shamans being forced to give multiple readings until the Khan received the desired outcome. The shamans' readings in this case may not have been just for the Khans, but in order to spread the message to the soldiers that good fortune had been seen, and talks give soldiers greater confidence that victory was already assured. And for occasions that the Khans saw a military operation as untamable, then a shaman interpreting a dark fortune for the operation could serve as a convenient face-saving measure, ascribing it to the heaven's will. Some shamans also had political power. Some rulers in 12th and early 13th century Mongolia had dual roles as chiefs and shamans and were identified by the title Beki. Some examples of men who bore this title were Kwaduku Beki of the Oryat and Tuktoga Beki of the Meket. While Kwaduku Beki eventually became a marriage ally of Chinggis Khan's family, before that he allied with Chinggis' enemy, and in one battle he attempted to use a magic stone to control the weather. Control over the elements is another power associated with shamans. Mongol and Toik shamans had a unique stone called Jada or Yad, which through incantations was alleged to be able to change the weather. In a battle in 1202 against Chinggis Khan, Kwaduku Beki used his Jada to bring rainstorm against Chinggis' army, only for the storm to instead blow into the face of Kwaduku and his allies and scatter them. In February 1232, a Kwanglik man in Mongol service used a weather stone to cause a huge snowstorm that paralyzed the Chongqing army. Within Chinggis Khan's own family, some shamans seem to have played a significant role. Some writers ascribe Chinggis' rise to power, at least in part, to its alliance with a shaman's named Kokochu, more famously known as Tep Tangiri, a title usually translated as the entirely perfect shaman. Kokochu Tep Tangiri was from the Kongira tribe, the same as Chinggis' mother, and rose to be a significant influence in Chinggis Khan's family, making decisions in the name of Tengri, saying what was heaven's will, and seemingly helping to reconcile Chinggis Khan with his eldest son, Joki. So great was his influence that he persuaded Chinggis' family, Chinggis Khan, to appoint Kokochu's father-in-law as the head of all judicial matters in the empire. Kokochu's rise in prominence occurred soon after Chinggis Khan's conquest of the Jin dynasty northern capital, Zhongdu, in 1215, and was strongly disliked by the other members of the family. The shaman's influence was short-lived, for after the family's continual complaints against him, one night Kokochu insulted Chinggis Khan's younger brother, Kwasa. Kwasa and his older brother, Timuge, came together and Kwasa broke the shaman's back, killing him. Chinggis Khan subsequently distanced himself from the event by shaming his brothers, but did nothing else to punish them. The Mongolian sources indicated a change in Chinggis Khan's demeanor following the death of the shaman, and it is possible the shaman's death was the impetus for Chinggis' increased adoption of Toyists, Buddhists, and Christian advisors, reducing the role of shamans in the higher levels of Mongolian society. Another politically powerful shaman in the Mongol Empire was Tabai, a female shaman from the Kenyan tribe and an in-law of Chinggis Khan. Tabai was the widow of Toroi, more famously known as Togrul Wankan, who had been Chinggis Khan's patron until Chinggis overthrew him. Tabai's daughter was married to Chinggis' son, Toliu, and had likely become a shaman before her husband's death in battle. Chinggis Khan brought Tabai into his household, possibly to ensure she would not foment unrest in revenge for her husband's death. In his last days, Chinggis Khan may have made Tabai to do some shamanic rites for him to aid in his recovery. During the reign of Tuli's son, Mongol Khan, Tabai became a significant figure in the court and the chief advisor of Mongol's younger brother, Arik Bokeh. After Mongol's death in 1259, Tabai helped to ensure Arik Bokeh took control of the capital Karakorum. In opposition to Kublai Khan, her role in ensuring civil war is unclear, but once Arik Bokeh was defeated in 1264, Tabai was among those executed. After the fall of the Jung dynasty in 1368, Mongolia became a process of retribalization and continued over the next several centuries. Buddhism and shamanism had to coexist, with the Mongols themselves seeing seen no conflict between the two, and Buddhist Mongols still had shamans perform duties for them. Shamanism continues to have a legacy in Mongolia today, even with the continued popularity of Buddhism and Islam among the various Mongolic-speaking people. Shamanism in the Mongol Empire is one of those topics that remains mysterious, but understanding its reality and role helps to further contextualize the empire and show us how it was shaped by its interaction with its environment.